Okay, I've got 2 minutes after. So let's jump in. And today's session is going to be a little bit different than the last couple that we've hosted. Happy New Year to everyone. This is the first one in the new year 2026. And so I wanted to perhaps step back and maybe go a little bit more practical than a few of the more deeper topics that we've had as a team, as we've shared insights, tips, tricks, etc. with you all. And so, two conversations I want to share that I've had with agents over the course of probably the last 2 to 3 months as we think about goal setting. One had to do with a real estate team, husband and wife working together. They set goals at the beginning of 2025, and they realized around November, beginning of November, end of October, that they had actually already reached and exceeded their goals. And so they were just constantly continuing to grind and work at, just as they were in January, February, not realizing because they didn't really understand that they had actually already reached those goals. And so that's on one end of the spectrum. The other that I'll share is I talked with a very new agent who really wasn't sure how to even go about starting to set goals, and was hoping to gain some insights around kind of what that looks like and everything in between. And so what I want to do today is take a closer look at how to break down what your goals actually mean. For those of you that participated in our moonshot planning session at the end of last year, you know that we all as a group chose to set what ultimately was an impossible goal. We looked to either double or triple what our current goals were and really go into 2026 with a bang. And I hope that everyone is doing that and working toward those goals and hopefully having some success with that as well. I want to take a step back, and we will fast forward back to our moonshot goal, but I want to take a step back and look at a very practical way of goal setting. And I'm actually going to share my screen. I'm a huge spreadsheet guy. I know Jonathan is, and many others on the team as well. But I love spreadsheets, love creating formulas and just letting, calculations kind of drive insights and goals that we all set. And so I'm going to share my screen. Hopefully you all can see a blank Microsoft Excel spreadsheet. Okay, thank you for that. And I'm just going to work through this really quickly. It should take me less than 5 minutes to do, and I'm happy to share this spreadsheet with you all also so that you can kind of plug in your specific numbers. And so you will have some homework, and I'll share that homework with you here in just a few moments. But there will be some homework that you all will have on actually entering in your specific data and then letting that drive your goal for this year. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and we're going to look at last year. We're going to look at January 2025 through the end of the year. Okay, so we're going to go through December of last year, and specifically, we're looking at the homes that you all have sold over the course of the last 12 months. And that's going to require that you all do a little bit of data entry, but you only have to do it one time. So there's going to be enough space here for 60 home sales. So for those of you that have sold more than 60, you rock star agents, you might have to add a couple of columns and I can help you with that. All right, so you got 12 months here on the left-hand side. Is the size okay? Can everybody see that all right? Okay. You've got 12 months, you've got space for 5 homes, and then we're going to take a look at the average sales price. Anybody have any idea what the average sales price of homes in Roanoke, Virginia, would have been for last year, 2025? You can come off of mute and answer if you know. It was actually a lot higher than what I thought that it was. I was thinking it was somewhere in the 250-ish range, which actually does represent the median sales goal or sales price, excuse me, for Roanoke. But the average sales price was actually $380,000 in Roanoke, Virginia. And so actually what I'm going to do is I'm gonna actually just put this in the spreadsheet so you guys have it. Average sales price, again, Roanoke, Virginia, $380,000. Okay. And what you will be tasked with doing for the purposes of this illustration, I'm going to just put in some numbers that are fictitious numbers. Obviously, you all are going to have homes ranging from different amounts throughout the year. But I'm just going to put in some random numbers here just so that you can see what the calculation does. And it will all make sense. Say we had a lower sales price home, it will all make sense as we get to the bottom of the spreadsheet. And let's just grab this number for the rest of the year. All right, so again, if you've got more homes than the one row that we are representing here, make sure you fill in those numbers so that it fills this in. All right, so now what we want to do, what Excel allows you to do is we're going to take an average of all of these home sales through January. Again, if you have more, it'll automatically calculate it for you. And then we're going to do that through the remainder of the year. Okay. And then from here, we are actually going to take the average sales price of the whole year. This is going to be important in determining your ultimate goal. Okay. So we're going to take the average of all of these months. And we're going to say that with this fictitious example that I entered in, 300 and almost $51,000 is your specific sales price, average sales price for the year as a real estate agent. Okay. Does that make sense, what we've done so far? Everybody tracking what we've done? Okay. So now we want to bake in average commission. Hopefully, all of you are not skimping on your commission and you're taking at least 3%. But we understand that sometimes you have to do what you have to do to get the sale. So what we're going to do though is we're going to multiply this by 3%. And that's going to give us average commission. So 10.5. Um, for those of you with varying structures within your particular brokerage, you may have to deduct something depending on how your structure is set up. So if you do need to do that, you will actually, I will enter that in for you. Sorry, I'm deviating from my notes. So if I mess up, that's okay. You guys just smile and keep nodding with me. So we're going to subtract any deductions. We're going to do, let's just say, I don't know, $5,000. I don't know how your brokerages are set up, but we're just going to take this number and subtract this number. And this is the amount that you're actually going to pay. Maybe it's not that bad. I don't know. Let's say $2,000. Okay, so your average commission, $8,500. All right. So one of the things that I discovered in a lot of the discussions that I had is that a lot of agents, your goals were not necessarily based on anything specific. And what I mean by that is that you perhaps set an arbitrary goal. You said, I want to sell 50 homes next year, or I want to sell $12 million worth of real estate next year. And sometimes that may or may not align with what you actually need to survive. And so hopefully you all have a budget and perhaps you are leveraging that budget to determine what you actually need to make to provide for your family. And so I'm just going to throw a random number here, $75,000. And we're saying that this is the number as you look at your expenses. And this can be based on something else also, but I think that that is really um, a valuable exercise to understand how much you need to make to live. Okay. And so required income in this field there will be a few fields here that you will not want to touch because they have the formulas and all, and I'll maybe flag those for you all, but maybe don't touch those because they have formulas. And then anything else in white or that's not field will be an editable field for you. I think it's going to be about 4 after I send you the spreadsheet. Okay, so you need to make $75,000. You have your commission here. We're now going to take the amount of homes that you need to sell in order to actually make that happen. And so we're going to take this number divided by this number. So we're taking the amount of income that you need to make divided by your commission. And you need to sell, I'm going to round this up, in this particular example, and again, this will all update as you enter your specific information, your home sales currently, your required income. I would need to sell as an agent 9 homes in 2026, again, following a similar structure as what I did last year in order to make $75,000 for the year. Everybody's still tracking with me so far? Okay. So now we're going to insert our moonshot goal. And for those of you that did not have an opportunity to attend this particular session, half-day session that we did at the RVAR a few months back, we looked at a moonshot goal, an impossible goal that was set, essentially that doubles the goal that you had the prior year or tripled in some cases. I think some of us tripled our goals, and so I'm going to actually use that as the example today. And we're going to triple, so we're going to multiply by 3, which should get us somewhere in the neighborhood of 27 homes. 26, it's rounding down. All right. So now we have 26 homes that we need to sell in 2026 to reach our moonshot goal. And the next element that I want to add is the average conversion rate. And so I'm going to add a few more notes here and give me about 2 more minutes and we'll be done actually and allow you to ask questions. We need to look at the average conversion rate. All right. And I want to break that down in a few different categories. And so I've done some research and I actually want to show you how important it is as you think about how you structure your business, the way in which you are doing lead intake. And this is not to criticize or to talk about any specific way, but I do want to break some real numbers down for you as it relates to conversion rates. This is specific, once again, to Roanoke, Virginia. If we have any that are in different markets, you can tweak this and update it based on your specific market. But we're going to look at the average conversion rate. And I want to break down some staggering numbers for you. So cold leads, internet leads are on average 0.5% to 1.5% conversion rate. Very, very low. The next level is open house. Actually surprised to see this, or if you put up a sign and you are getting leads from someone calling your sign in a yard, 1% to 3% conversion. All right, moving on. Warm, nurtured leads. These are folks that you're in some level of contact with. This goes up 2% to 5% conversion rate. And I'll tell you what this means in just a moment. And then referrals, and this is where obviously if you've participated on any training that the Legacy team has hosted in recent months, we've talked a lot about this particular bucket of clients. It increases pretty exponentially from 8% to 15% conversion rate on average. Okay, so with that in mind, again, all the way ranging from 0.5% to 15% in terms of the conversion rate. As we add this in, and let's take best case scenario to start, and I'm going to go in between referrals, this particular bucket, and we're going to say that we're converting on average at about 11.5%. Okay, and the last number, and then I'm gonna finish up here because I do want to be respectful of everyone's time. So this particular number here, which is going to represent the number of leads that you have to realize in 2026 to reach your moonshot goal. We are going to take the moonshot goal against the average conversion rate of 11.5%. And we are going to need 230 leads in 2026 to reach your moonshot goal. And if you will recall back to our last session, which was mid-December, just before the holidays, Jonathan walked through a lead tracker which actually kind of had the breakdown of the number of monthly leads that you were looking to obtain. This should translate directly to that, right? And so if you take 230 divided by 12, you can go in and fill out or fill in your specific categories. And these again may require some tweaks. Again, if 50% or 75% of your leads are coming from cold calls or internet, Zillow, some type of advertising, then this 11.5% you're going to have to update to be a little bit lower, obviously, to fit the specific category that your leads represent. And so what this allows you to do in closing, and I'm going to also open it up for any questions. And again, I'm happy to share this spreadsheet with everyone that we've just created together so you can plug in your numbers and see what this actually means for you. But this actualizes your goal for 2026 with real numbers that you can actually track toward. I'm hopeful in future sessions we can continue to talk about leads and prospecting and how you actually get 230 leads. You all are likely doing great things in that space already, but this helps you to understand, if you don't reach your goal next year, this year, and you see that you only, took in 150 leads, you're going to know exactly why you didn't reach that goal, but you're also able to tweak it in future years as well, to help.
Hey, Corey,
Yes, sir.
I've got two questions for you, and this might be something other people are wondering too. Number one,
Yeah,
this Excel spreadsheet, we can send this out to whoever is here, correct? And
absolutely.
then secondly, you've got a field there for required income, which I know, that's basically what you need to pay your bills. Can you add a moonshot income?
Yeah,
I know you got the moonshot goal of closings, right? Or
yeah.
transactions. Okay. I really like seeing my income and with yeah, my income motivates me
I
a
understand.
lot.
That
Okay.
surprises me, Jonathan.
Shocked.
Does it if you could add
So
a column next to that what CJ's income is, then I'm really, really motivated to make
Yeah.
sure that I beat him and do whatever I need to do. Yeah.
Mhm.
fair enough. Fair enough. Um, the conversion rate, anybody want to take a guess? What is our favorite tool of 2025 and going into 2026 where I obtain that conversion rate?
Chat GPT.
Woohoo. Ding, 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 ding. Yeah, so really have used chat for, in this case, the conversion rates, as well as the average prices. And of course, it's very detailed and methodical as to how it pulls, but it also tells you where it pulled the data from. So yes, ChatGPT was definitely leveraged to obtain the average sales price as well as the average conversion rates that make up this spreadsheet. Okay, well, again, we're 22 minutes in. We want to keep these within 30 minutes. I will send this spreadsheet out. I'm going to make a few tweaks. And again, if the column or the cell is shaded in this kind of red hue, don't touch the formula, don't touch the cell because it's going to mess everything else up. We will leave everything else white. And so again, this will be everything you need to fill in terms of the homes that you've actually sold. And then there will be a few more fields that you will actually update. Conversion rate will be one. Your deductions for your brokerage in terms of the splits, and then your required income. So thank you so much
Awesome.
for the time today, and you guys have a great rest of your Wednesday.
Cool. Good job, Corey.
Thank you, Corey.
Thank